Back in the day when you heard the words Nike lawsuit, you immediately thought sweatshops or worker exploitation. But nowadays, Nike is a socially responsible company with tons of initiatives. They're really transparent. And you know what? It's now Nike who's entering the courts and suing people. And they've done some really big lawsuits. So today in this video, we're gonna be taking a look at Nike's most controversial lawsuits. In 2019, Nike registered trade dress protection for 18 of its sneakers. The three most prominent silhouettes being the Air Force One, the Air Jordan 1, and the Dunk. At one stage, Nike moved swiftly to ensure patents were in place for many of their designs, rushing through 1,500 patents in a 3-year time span. Since footwear designer Mark Parker became CEO in 2006, they began filing for around 500 patents per year. Alongside this, as Nike noticed more and more fake sneakers on the market, they would come out filing, I should say, as they filed lawsuits against 600 websites and 600 social media accounts for selling counterfeit sneakers. Let's start with Mischief. The more prominent of the recent legal battles Nike has had come in the form of the Jesus and Satan shoes from the unconventional creative collective Mischief. The controversial group, based in Brooklyn, New York, collaborated with rapper Lil Nas X to create limited edition Air Max 97s. The first pair they released was this white and icy blue Air Max 97 that had supposedly, from what they said, holy water from the River of Jordan in the air unit, and you could see it moving around in there. It's pretty crazy. It also sported a crucifix looped into the laces and red insoles to represent the red shoes traditionally worn by the Pope. Pretty wild shoe. They even printed Matthew 14:25 on the sneaker as a reference to the Bible verse describing Jesus walking on water. On the heel tab, you'll find the letters INRI, which apparently are often seen on the crucifix and stand for Lesus Nazarnius Rux Ludorium. Sorry if I butchered that. I'm pretty sure none of you guys speak Latin, which is Latin for Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Although Nike didn't initially take the bait on this pair, they certainly noticed Mischief's next foray, the Satan shoes. This shoe was wild. The black and red pair were eye-catching, with multiple references to Satanism, including a pentagram looped into the laces that reads, I saw Satan, Mischief, and Lil Nas X. The sneakers also featured a red inverted cross on the tongue and a drop of human blood mixed in with ink in the sole's air unit. Blood apparently drawn from the members of the Mischief team. Kinda disgusting. And of course, they released only 606 pairs of the sneaker and displayed another Bible reference, this time Luke 10:18, which reads, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Terrifying.
Rapper Lil Nas X had a hell of a weekend, releasing a limited line of 666 Satan shoes, custom Nike sneakers that have a drop of human blood in them.
Many called for a boycott of Nike, who actually had nothing to do with the release. I mean, this thing was going viral everywhere on Twitter, Instagram. I remember it like it was yesterday. Nike then made a federal filing against Mischief and the Brooklyn Collective, who were then ordered to halt the fulfillment of the shoes. Mischief then voluntarily recalled the Jesus shoes and offered a buyback program for them. As to be expected, a lot of the purchased pairs were immediately put on eBay for like 3 or 4 times the retail, with some of them still available to this day. Lululemon. Some would think that Lululemon is an unlikely target for Nike's legal team. However, the Canadian athletic and lifestyle brand founded in 1998 joined the sneaker market in 2022, and Nike had their eye on them. The footwear in question this time is the Charge Feel, the Bliss Feel, and the Strong Feel. Nike sued Lululemon for allegedly infringing on Nike's patented Flyknit technology. Flyknit has been a staple across Nike's footwear offerings for years. And I guess the best way I can describe Flyknit is, imagine if your shoes were like cozy socks that fit your feet perfectly. It's like making shoes with a special knitted material that's soft and stretchy, just like your favorite socks. And so Nike uses this knitted material to make the top part of their shoes, or as us sneakerheads call it, the upper of the shoe. If you look at these Lululemon shoes and these Nike shoes side by side, you can see that they have similar uppers and design elements. What do you guys think? You think Nike is in the wrong here? Also, if you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like? Bape. Perhaps you've seen Bape's iconic ape head logo before, and that's because they've been around for years. This is Nigo. He started Bape in Japan way back in 1993. He was heavily influenced by hip-hop culture and took the brand from a small boutique to a global phenomenon. At the height of Bape's popularity, Nike accused Nigo of plagiarizing some of their biggest sneakers, including the Air Force One, the Air Jordan 1, and the Nike Dunk. Although Bape initially asked for the lawsuit to be dismissed, Nike stuck to their guns and kept the lawsuit, even proposing a licensing agreement with the Japanese brand. They requested for them to stop selling the Bapes sneakers, but Bape rejected that, and the matter was dropped in 2009. And by the way, I'm not sure if they even ever stopped releasing the Bapestas, because I remember back in 2013, they released a snakeskin Bapesta to celebrate the Year of the Snake. Unfortunately for Bape, they had to close down most of their stores in the US, which hindered their fast growth. And then in 2023, Nike striked Bape again. Honestly, I was shocked when this went down because Bape had been releasing all these shoes for years. I feel like Nike took too long, but then again, I don't know man, the Bape still looks exactly like an Air Force One, like dead on. From what I understand, Bape and Nike have yet to reach a settlement, so we'll keep an eye on that and we'll keep you posted. Alright, StockX. You guys know StockX, you know that green verification tag that some of the kids keep on their sneakers? I don't know why they do that. StockX claims they can authenticate any kind of sneaker. They also do collectibles. They're a huge, huge company. And in 2022, Nike decided to put their authenticity program to the test and bought some shoes, and it turns out some of them were fake, and they were claimed to be fake by the maker of the shoes, Nike. And this was on top of the fact that Nike was already in a lawsuit with StockX over the production of NFTs that StockX was selling. And they simply updated the lawsuit to include the more recent issues with their authentication process. At the time, StockX was heavily marketing their Nike NFTs, which the swoosh weren't happy about. I mean, they literally made an NFT of a Nike sneaker and Nike wasn't seeing a cut, or they didn't ask for permission. I don't understand why StockX would do that. StockX still thinks it's fair use, and it seems like, the case has yet to be settled. Although Warren Lotus is famous for collaborating with the NBA and brands such as Ready Made and Fear of God, unfortunately, he's also known for his giant feud with Nike. He began by purchasing Nike Air Force Ones in bulk, removing the swoosh and applying custom designed versions. With the likeness of Jason, he would put the hockey mask from the Halloween film Jason. Eventually, he moved on to the Nike Dunk SB Low, and Nike decided to take him to court. In this case, Nike was not only suing for trademark infringement, where they wanted monetary compensation including profits from the sales of each shoe, they also requested that all the unsold dunks should be sent to Nike for them to be destroyed. Nike felt this was the most reliable way to save these items from somehow re-entering the reselling market. One difference in this case compared to the others is the resale price of one of the shoes that was causing Nike to raise their eyebrows, and that was the original Pigeon Dunk by Jeff Staple, a sneaker that currently sits on StockX for over $120,000. Warren Lotus claims that his dunk was just a reinterpretation of the original, but Nike believed it would confuse consumers, and Lotus agreed to no longer sell his take on the iconic classic Pigeon Dunk. Alright, John Geiger. You guessed it. We're back again in 2021 with the Air Force One and another trade dress infringement. This time though, it was John Geiger and his GF01, which, Nike questioned because the shoe looks just like the Air Force One. I mean, you can see why he was getting sued by Nike. Nike felt that Geiger was capitalizing on the reputation of the Air Force One, which is obviously built by Nike. And Geiger responded with a countersuit saying that he feels like the design features, there's enough of a difference there, and there shouldn't be a lawsuit there. And the lawsuit was actually related to the Warren Lotus case, as La La Land Productions and Design Incorporated manufactured both the GF01 for John Geiger and for Warren Lotus, the Pigeon Dunks. An agreement was eventually reached in 2022, with Nike apparently still happy with what John Geiger does in general. Shocking, because when you look at the GF01 alongside the Air Force One, they look identical except for the swoosh, and he still sells those. It's kind of wild to me. Cool Kai. Speaking of simply removing the swoosh and calling it a new brand, Nike filed a lawsuit against Cool Kai. Look at this, it's literally an Air Jordan 1 with a Thunderbolt as the swoosh. Nike was suing Cool Kai over their use of Nike's trademark designs, namely the Air Kai 85, which, as you can see, looks a lot like an Air Jordan 1 or a Nike Dunk High. Not only did Nike seek a ruling to prevent any more infringements, they also requested that all the products and packaging be sent to Nike for destruction. Destruction sounds crazy, like what are they gonna do, burn them in a giant field or drop a bomb on them? It was reported by Complex earlier this year that Cool Kai and Nike reached a settlement, but it was quickly taken back when Cool Kai's then lawyer informed Complex that the case was still ongoing, so we'll see what happens. Another on Nike's hit list is Narcotic, a brand created by rapper and fashion designer Lil Nar. Apparently, Nike said that the brand had created Nike Dunk knockoffs in several colorways, as well as using the iconic Jordan elephant print. Once again, Nike used the case that this was another business that was trying to grow off the back of Nike's famous trademarks, and that it undermined the value of Nike's legitimate products. Basically, Narcotic did the same thing as some of these other companies do by removing their iconic swoosh and replacing them with a butterfly. Why would anyone want to rock these joints? I don't know, they just look like such big knockoffs. However, they did want to solve it in a friendly way, and a settlement was reached between the two brands. All right, let's talk about Drip Creations. Apparently, Drip Creations infringed on some of Nike's registered trademarks around the Air Force One by creating customized versions of the sneakers. Two areas were covered by the lawsuit. One being that the brand had allegedly been selling counterfeit Nike products, and also that Nike's products had been customized in a way that Nike never approved or authorized. All right, so this one's a little shaky for me because the Air Force One, especially the all-white Air Force One, is kind of a canvas and part of sneaker culture, and I know this isn't like the thing for a lot of sneakerheads, but customized Air Force Ones is just this part of sneaker culture that has existed for years, and I don't know if Nike's stepping in. I mean, obviously, if they're making millions of dollars off of these unauthorized sneakers that they're dropping and stuff, it makes sense. But customized sneakers, especially customized Air Force Ones, kind of celebrates sneaker culture in a way. The settlement ended with Drip Creations unable to create or sell unauthorized customizations of Nike sneakers. You know, it's crazy that years ago, the finger had always been pointed at Nike, but now the tables have turned. Nike is the one doing the suing.